this is Margaret. Welcome to my channel. You are on BookTube, and I know today is a Tuesday, but I'm going to be doing an AuthorTube subject or topic instead of a tag today, just because I need to get that goal of 2 AuthorTube videos a month. So since we're going to have our past lives panel on next Sunday, this will be my other AuthorTube content for you all on my channel. So hopefully this will help some of you. I'm going to be talking about packing priorities. So this came to me on a live that Joe from Go Indie Now was hosting because they were talking about going to Comic-Con in New York City. And some of them got to meet up in person, which was lovely, I'm sure. And I just came back from a trip. So I thought, oh, look at all this area for me to give advice in. Let's try it. I come from a long line of picky packers. I don't know if my mom would want to say that, but we definitely pack light. So that comes in handy when you're traveling as an author, or I think just really being flexible with life. So here, without further ado, are my top 10 tips for packing priorities. We're going to start with bring a carry-on. No checked luggage. No new friends? No checked luggage. And the reason I say just bring a carry-on is because it stays in your reach, and you can't lose it that way. You can't lose it if you never let go of it. Now that sounds like bad advice for relationships, but good advice for luggage. So there's less risk because they can't accidentally ship it to Timbuktu, and there's less money because you don't have to pay for those sneaky rules about paying for checked luggage that they tack on these days. So good. My second tip is to pack light. Now, if you are used to packing a lot, this may have already occurred to you with a carry-on, but you can pack a lot into a carry-on. But here's my argument for why you shouldn't. So if you pack light, you won't run the risk of being overweight for your luggage allowance, because that's another little rule that airlines will try to get you on. They'll say you're a few pounds over and then you have to pay another $25 or whatnot. Unless you want to keep abreast of all the details of all the airlines and what their little fiddly rules are, just pack light and worry about it less. Less risk of fees, and also less pain, because you're carrying it. You're going to be carrying it or rolling it. And if it's heavy or hard to manage or not a great fit, then, you know, your back or your neck or your hands or your something is going to pay. And I don't want anyone the pain of that on a travel experience, because that takes away from the fun. The other thing about packing light I would advise is if you can think through the purpose of your journey and what you might be taking with you that you can use up or give away, and what you might be buying there or receiving there and taking back, then you'll have room to make those transactions. If you go with a packed bag, you don't have room for anything to bring back. But if you go with a bag where 2 of the things you're bringing are travel size, so you throw them away at the end and you have space for another book, always another book, or what have you, then that just gives extra flexibility while you're traveling. I'm going to show, let's see, I took some pictures out here to show you. The first one is a carry-on. The second one is a closer up of a carry-on. I guess I'll put them here. The next picture is what you don't want to end up with, which is me actually decluttering at my parents' house and a little overwhelmed by all the things. And the next picture is what one of my siblings considers light packing for a trip to Tokyo. So yeah. There's a wide variety in my family. What can I say? So what you want to do, and this is how I do it when it's a really big trip, like the one for Tokyo, I think was 12 or 13 days. And again, in the summer for a wedding, lots of different things, lots of hard things to pack for. So I started out with, here's my whole list. What do I want to bring? And then next picture is editing it down to, okay, what did I manage to fit in and what is going to go in my side bag, you know, carry-on personal item. Number 3. Okay. Tip number 3 is, given that you're with a carry-on and you're packing light, given these priorities, what are your biggest concerns? Socks, underwear, and layers. So I'm going to put up another picture, which is me in Scotland with my mother. We were on a trip and we met up with this person. This is a good example of layers. So for me, I would say thin layers that you can put more on. That gives you more heat if you're going somewhere like the Highlands where it's going to be damp and cold and windy. A big old scarf. Just as the one I got in Iceland, and I love it. It's like as big as a rug, and it keeps me very warm. And something rain layer or like dressier or formal that you can put on the outside. This next picture is when I was out walking in Edinburgh on my own on a previous trip, and this is like 3 layers you can see with some long pants and hiking boots so that I was outdoors, and it worked very well. But none of these would be out of place in a midline restaurant, which is all that I was going to anyway. So, and make sure that you have enough socks and underwear, because as Joe said in his video, that is of supreme concern when it comes to cleanliness, health on the road, and confidence. You don't want to, wonder if you're smelling up the place. So there you go. And outside of that, a lot of your clothing and toiletries and whatever else is negotiable. So when you look at what, all the wants that you have on that bed, and you have to give up some of them as you whittle down, keep that in mind. You can also keep in mind if you're going to be able to do laundry. Like for the trip I just took, I actually had like 12 days. And so I did 6 of socks and underwear, and then had the laundry place that I was going to be at, and then the same 6. So I was cutting it very close, but I did get in that night super tired. First thing I did was do the laundry, and I did it so quickly. I forgot that when I tossed the raincoat that I had in there, that had gotten chocolate on it, so I needed to wash it right away. I left my wallet in the pocket. I've never done that before. First time for everything. Anyway, it all came out okay. The credit cards were not demagnetized, which was a-okay. Tip number 4 is to wear the bulkiest things on the plane. So when I just said have a dressy or more formal outer layer jacket, have thin layers, have a big warm scarf, that's what you want to wear on the plane so that you don't have to pack it and take up all the space with those things. Once you get on the plane, you can put them behind you, you can put them over your lap, and they won't complain. So it's just a matter of half an hour carrying it around the airport, stuffing it back in. It's the way to go. If anyone has disagreements about this, you can fight me, but it's very easy, and that would be my recommendation. The other risky thing, I guess, is shoes. Usually I travel with 2 pairs of shoes. It's going to be you wear the bigger ones through the airport, and you wear you pack a smaller pair, because then your feet have variety and they can breathe, so you don't get blisters. They can be, I usually like to do one nicer pair that you can wear in formal situations, and one more comfy pair. So this could be the big bulky ones are fancy dress shoes, or the smaller ones are like fancy slippers, and then the other one is casual, or vice versa, whichever you have. You can consider where you're going to be walking, like on sand or in the rain, or I don't know, stamping around in the crisp fall leaves of Portland. That's always a good one. The trip I just went on, I only took one, and I regretted it, even though I didn't really have another pair of shoes that I could bring that would fit. So what else was I going to do? The only other thing I would say about clothing is when you pack, try to pack clothes that are in the same color palette family, so that you don't end up like having to wear something green with something purple and look kind of weird. I mean, unless it's your style, to wear Punky Brewster clothes, keep them neutrals, keep your red pops or whatever. I'm not a wardrobe consultant by any means, and I have lots of different colors in my wardrobe. But when I pack, I tend to go with the things that all complement each other, so I don't have to worry about not being able to wear one shirt or one pair of pants on the same day. Like they all go with each other, so I don't have to worry about it. All right, tip number 5, security. So, do you know what your 4 go-tos are when you go through that security line so that the people behind you aren't tearing their hair out? Okay, say it with me, everybody. As an author, you're traveling with a laptop because you're doing your social media and your emails and all that stuff like this instead of like this for better wrist health. Yes, we are. So you pull that laptop out, you take those shoes off, you take those liquids out if you're traveling with travel size toiletries like shampoo and conditioner and soap, and you stuff all that outerwear that you're carrying, because you're wearing your bulkiest items, into the bins. And so this means that you take up like 4 spaces on the conveyor belt, and it's okay. It's okay. As long as you know, people will not get angry at you. I've never had anyone get annoyed at me. At least I don't think so. Not that I've noticed. So those are your 4 go-tos: laptop, shoes, liquids, outerwear, and then you're through security. I have the added hang up of almost always requesting to get a pat down instead of going through the machine, just because I don't need extra, x-ray vision and people like looking through my skin when I don't really need it. So that's that. But for most people, if they're okay with it, they can sail right through. Tip number 6, hydration. So I think this is really like a good hack. I don't see many people doing this. Some people throw away their water when they go through, and that's terrible. So first of all, don't throw away water containers. Bring your own water bottle, unless like you're packing very, very minimalist. And then I went with a disposable one and reused it for the 12-day trip. Bring a bottle of water. Drink it while you're on the way to the airport and standing in the security line. That's usually when I guzzle it down so that I have it up to the very last minute. And then it's empty when you go through. And as soon as you go through and you find your gate, you fill it back up and you go pee. So you're hydrated and you're set for the rest of the trip. You don't have to depend on the waitress. You don't have to depend on the attendant coming by and giving you like a half glass of water that you might drop on yourself and whatnot. It's not the way to go. So like I said, hydrate as you go. Tip number 7, you get to your destination, you get off the plane after an interminable amount of time, you're free to go. You don't have to go to baggage claim and wait for your luggage. How freeing does that feel? Okay, so that's not really a tip, but I mean, you're avoiding this, so there you go. It's just an added bonus. Tip number 8, once you are out of the airport, what do? You use public transit, because then you can do your work stuff on your phone or connect with your contact in the area, and it's much cheaper. So I guess this is indie AuthorTube. Use public transit. It's a beautiful way to go. This is a lovely picture of a station in Leicester from a trip several years ago. It supports local infrastructure, which taxes are paying for. It's easier on the environment, and it's safer usually. I don't know. I haven't studied up on this. It's just the cheapest way to go and the most environmentally responsible. So there you go. Tip number 9, don't forget your chargers anywhere. Use them on the plane. Bring an extra charging stick for your phone if necessary, because backups. Which means belts and suspenders, a charger and a charger for the phone, kind of thing. And final tip, number 10, don't forget headphones to keep yourself calm as you attend to all these details, and also not bug people when you listen to music on the plane, or have an easy out when you're trying not to talk to the person next to you on the plane. Yeah, I think that's the sum up of my tips for AuthorTube travel. This has been 10 tips and This has been 10 tips and packing priorities with Margaret Pinard. Hope it's helpful. I don't know. Tell me if this makes any sense to you, and we'll leave with the lovely view of the train that passed me up in my train and made us an hour late on the eastern seaboard. So thanks, train. I guess that's not a vote for public transit, is it? Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.